It's not easy for TV shows to follow up amazing first seasons, and Stranger Things had an amazing first season. Luckily for fans, season 2 more than lived up to it. Some fans even say they enjoyed it more than the first. As good as it was though, nothing is perfect. So today we're gonna take a look at mistakes you didn't notice in Stranger Things season 2. It's gonna get nitpicky. Also, it should be obvious, but spoiler alert. If you haven't seen season 2 of Stranger Things, add this to your watch later playlist. And if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell thing to stay up to date with our videos. In the first episode of the season, we were presented with some pretty in-your-face product placement for KFC. It was so blatant, it was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. This is real. Okay, commercial break, I guess. Well, as it turns out, the product placement wasn't even accurate to the year the show took place in. The show takes place in the 80s, but before the year 1991, KFC was known as Kentucky Fried Chicken. So Steve being like, I love KFC, didn't really make sense. Unless he was way before his time in terms of fried chicken. Here's another case of things being shown in the show that didn't exist at the time. It seems like Mr. Clark has a couple of posters from the future set up in his classroom. First of all, he has a periodic table here that includes a whole bunch of elements that hadn't been discovered in 1984. It also looks like this is a photo of the Challenger space shuttle. You know, the photo of it right before it exploded in 1986? There was a whole big plot point in the season about the kids trying to figure out who Mad Max was, because he or she had beat their high score in a game called Dig Dug. It was a nice way to introduce the Max character and show that she's cool enough to hang with the guys. The only problem is that in real life it couldn't have happened like that. The actual game Dig Dug only let you enter 3 letters as your high score name, so she only would have been able to write Mad or Max, which is a less cool way of introducing a character. Arguably, all of episode 7 was a mistake. It followed 11 on a road trip to Chicago and felt super out of place in the show. Did anyone like that episode? If you liked that episode, let me know in the comment section. I'm very confused. Anyway, the episode contained a pretty big mistake that a lot of people noticed. It was that a lot of the buildings shown in the Chicago skyline didn't exist back then, like the Trump International Hotel and Tower. That opened in 2009. Billy was an interesting character in season 2 that spent most of his time driving his sister around and threatening people, but there was actually a little mistake involving his Threatmobile. Some viewers pointed out there are at least 2 different versions of Billy's Camaro. It sometimes randomly switches between having power windows and having crank roll-up type windows. And that's the end of today's quick list. And now Stranger Things is completely ruined and unwatchable. They should just cancel season 3 right now because just awful. If you noticed any other mistakes in season 2 of Stranger Things, let us know in the comments section. And if you're watching this on Facebook, you can hit that link to jump over to YouTube and subscribe. Thanks for watching.